So guys, today's topic is NAT. The first thing, what is the use of NAT? What is the use of NAT? Okay, before use, just tell me what is the full form of NAT? What is the full form of NAT? NAT stands for Network Address Translation, right? Everyone, tell me guys. NAT stands for Network Address Translation. Now, why we need NAT? First of all, just tell me one thing. For example, this is your LAN network. Fine. Let's suppose this is the edge router of your company. Fine. And there is a switch. And there is, for example, WAN network. WAN network means public network, right? Everyone. Yes, na? Tell me,
Yes.
right? Na? Public network. And inside the LAN, generally we are using which type of IP address, guys? Private IP address.
Private IP.
Right? You can use public, but we are not using public because public are paid, not
Paid.
free of cost. Right? Na? So, for
Yes.
example, in your company, let's suppose there are 500 employees or 5,000 employees. Company is not going to purchase 500 IP address, public IP address. Right? Na? So, that's the reason we are using the private IP address inside the LAN network. Fine. For example, here is, let's suppose, Google server. And if you are sending any traffic, what will be your source IP? Source IP will be, guys, private. Right now, everyone, yes or no? Right? For example, IP
Yes.
address is 8.8.8.8. You are trying to reach 8.8.8 and your machine IP address is 192.168.1.1. That is private. Right? So what is the source IP? 192.168.1.1 and destination will be 8.8.8.8. Right? Packet will reach here, this router. On this router, for example, you already configure the default route. Okay. So what router will do? Router forward every traffic towards the public, right? Na? So here, let's suppose there is a router of the public network, or let's suppose Google. So this server receives the packet. But tell me one thing, is this router understand your packet? Answer is no. Because when this router will check, the source IP is 192.168.1.1. It means this is the private.
Private IP.
Yes. And please remember, your WAN network never understand your private IP address. Never understand your private IP address. What is the reason? Reason is, for example, you are sending and you are trying to ping 8.8.8.8, and this is your IP address, right? Everyone. And you know, in a world, the population of world is quite high, right? Na? Everyone. And for example, let's suppose at the same time, maybe it is possible there are 100 number of people who is trying to reach the same IP. Yes or no? Yes, this is very common, right? Are you tell me, guys?
Yes.
Right now, with
Yes.
the same source IP 192.168.1.1, because this is free, right? So it is possible multiple companies, multiple people are using this IP address. Yes or no? Yes. For example, if Google is receiving the same traffic at the same time with the same source, Google will confuse. Yes or no? Yes, Google will confuse to whom I need to reply. Getting my point, everyone? So that's the reason, to avoid this type of situation, we cannot share private IP address over the WAN network. So what is the solution? WAN network always understand public IP. Which IP, guys? Public IP. Fine. Now, what you will do, for example, this is your LAN network. So definitely you will purchase the public IP address from your ISP. Yes or no? Yes. There is a ISP and that ISP already provide you the public IP address. Fine. So on this router, what you will do? You will configure the NAT. What you will configure, guys? You will configure NAT. It means you are telling this router whenever you will receive the private IP address, just convert into this public IP address. Getting my point, everyone? Can tell me? Right now, everyone, guys, right? So either you have a one solution, either let's suppose there are 500 employees, either you can assign the public IP address to all the 500 users, but this will be this is not possible. This will be quite, the cost will be quite high, right? Everyone, right? So that's
Yes.
the reason we want any protocol or we want any technology. So by the help of that technology, what we can do, we can just convert that private into public. Done na, everyone? Yes or no? So that is called NAT.
Yes.
Understand, everyone? Now the thing is, for example, this is your LAN network. For example, this is your WAN network, and this is your edge router. So on this edge router, you configure the NAT, right? Now the thing is, for example, NAT generally we are configuring. There are multiple ways. For NAT, there are multiple ways. For example, there is a IP address 200.0.0.1. That is the public IP address. For example, on NAT you configure 192.168.1.1. Just convert this IP address into 200.0.0.1. Again, this is the entry number 1. Entry number 1. In entry number 2, you configure for 192.168.1.2. Convert into 200.0.0.2. Getting my point, everyone? Are you understand? So
Yes.
this is the one way. But try to understand, this is called static NAT. Which NAT, guys? Static NAT. But try to understand, is it also possible? Answer is no, because for every packets, what you are doing, for every private IP address, you are allocating the one public, right na, everyone? Yes or no? Right na,
Yes.
everyone? So if you are configuring this one, better you can configure direct public IP address to the user, right or wrong? Right now, because you are utilizing the same public IP address. Getting my point? So that is called static NAT. So generally, static NAT we are not using, because in static NAT, what is happening? IP to IP mapping is happening here, right now. For one private IP address, you are mapping or you are providing one public IP, right now, everyone? Tell me,
Yes.
guys. That is called static NAT. Fine. There is a called dynamic NAT. In dynamic NAT, for example, you configure the NAT. In this NAT, for example, in your company, there are 10, 15 or 20 public IP address. Fine. So you create a pool and assign all the public IP address there. Fine. Whenever any packet will reach on the router, what router will do? Router pick one public IP address among these pool and convert 192.168.1.1 and assign one public IP address to this IP and forward it. Getting my point? Again, packet will reach. Again, this router will check which IP address is free now. Okay, assign that IP address and forward it towards the WAN. That is called which type of NAT, guys? Dynamic NAT. Understand, everyone? Tell me. Understand,
Yes.
na? Okay. So there is a pool and it will work. Fine. For example, after some time, when communication happened, fine. So it means your first one will free, na? Yes or no? Yes, your first one will
Yes.
free. And let's suppose if this router will receive the another packet, then this router will assign the again first one. So basically that is the process, and that is called dynamic NAT. Fine, everyone. So that this is static NAT and that is dynamic NAT. But still in dynamic NAT also there is a problem. Problem is what? You are assigning the IP address from the pool, and in pool you have to assign the multiple public IP address. Right or wrong? Right, na, everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So the last solution is generally we are configuring what, guys? PAT, port address translation.
Translation.
Right? So by the help of PAT, you do not need to do anything. One public IP address you configure on the router, for example, 200.0.0.1, and whatever the source IP will come to the router, what router will do? Router will convert into this one. There is no problem. But there will be a unique port number. Unique port number. Getting my point, everyone? So by this way, your WAN IP address will be unique. Because in WAN, what is the requirement? Previously, when you are using the private, so there was a problem. Now, if there are 100 traffic will reach on the Google server, then Google server will confuse with the same source. Right or wrong? Right.
Right.
Because all the packet source IP is same. So that's the reason Google was confused. But now Google will receive all the packet with source 200.0.0.1, but different port number.
Port number.
Right? So by this way, you can make your IP address unique. Getting my point, everyone? So I hope now you guys understand. Basically, generally, there are three ways by which we are performing the NAT. Okay, first one is static NAT.
Static NAT.
Second one is dynamic NAT. In dynamic NAT, what we will do? We will create the pool. Fine. In static NAT, what we will do? IP to IP match.
IP to IP match.
Okay. And third one is called, guys, PAT. In
PAT.
PAT, we need only one public IP, and by the help of port number or port address. Okay, now what we will do? We will make the IP address unique. Understand? Everyone, tell me.
Yes.
Okay. Now, NAT is a technique used in the networking to modify the source or destination IP address of the packet as they pass through the routers or firewall. Yes or no? Yes. And one more thing, do not understand like this. For example, this is the LAN. Source IP is 192.168.1.1. Packet reach on the router. Okay. On router, you already configure the NAT and public IP address is 200.0.0.1. Fine. What this router will do? This router convert 192.168.1.1. Fine. What this router will do? What NAT will do? NAT will allocate which IP address? 200.0.0.1 to this IP address. Right or wrong? Right, na everyone? Are you tell me? Right?
Yes.
And what router will do? Router will make this entry in which table? NAT table also. Which table, guys? NAT table. Okay. So by the help of NAT table, this router will understand what I did. I convert this private IP address into this public IP address. Yes or no? Yes. What this router will do? This router forward this packet to the WAN. But after some time, this router will receive the reply also, na? Yes or no? Yes. This router will receive the reply also. Fine. For example, you are pinging 8.8.8.8. Are you tell me yes or no? Yes. So when
Yes.
this router will, this is the PC. When this PC will send the packet, what is the source IP address? 192.168.1.1 and destination is 8.8.8.8. Right? Packet
Yes.
reach on the router. What router will do? Router convert this one into 200.0.0.1 and destination will be same 8.8.8.8. Yes or no? And this router forward this
Yes.
packet towards the WAN. Fine. What WAN will do? WAN will send the reply. Fine. In this reply, what will be the source? 8.8.8.8 and destination will be 200.0.0.1 because your WAN do not understand your private IP address. This packet will reach on the router. What router will do? Router again check which table? NAT table. Which table, guys? NAT table. And in NAT table, router will find I already convert 192.168.1.1 into here. Fine. Are you tell me yes or no? So it means private to public. Private to, it convert private to public because of the NAT. Yes, na? And when this router will receive the reply, what it will do? It will convert public to private. Public to private. And this is because of NAT. So please understand, NAT means private to public and public to private. Understand, na everyone? Yes or no? When this packet will reach on the router, what router will do? Router check the NAT table and find I already convert this private IP address into this one. And now I'm getting the destination is this one. So what this router will do? This router will convert what? Source is 8.8.8.8 and destination will be 168.1.1 and forward this packet towards the LAN. Understand everyone? Yes or no? Clear now?
Yes.
Okay. So NAT means not only private to public. No. NAT means private to public or public to private. Understand? This is done
Yes.
to enable the multiple device on the private network to share the single public address when accessing the resources outside the network. Yes. NAT help in conserving the number of public IP address. Yes. It saves the number of public IP address. Yes or no? Yes, na? Are tell me. By the help of NAT, what we can do? We can save our public IP address. Yes, everyone tell me. Right? Now,
Yes.
what is the use of NAT? First one is IP address conservation. Yes, by the help of NAT, we can conserve our public IP address. Right now, everyone, yes or no? Yes. Now, next one is enhance the security. NAT hide your internal IP address. Right or wrong? For example, in my company, if I am using the network 10.0.0.1, so whenever if we are searching anything over the WAN or over the internet, the packet will not go with 10.0.0.1. Packet will go with the public IP address. It means your private IP address never exposed over the public internet. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So we can say it enhances the security. Third one is network management. NAT simplifies the network management by allowing the internal network to use the private IP address, which are not routable over on the public internet. Yes, I told you, na, your private IP address is not routable over the public internet because Google or public internet will not understand your private IP address. Yes or no? Yes. Tell me guys, yes, na? Private IP address can be used within the network, allowing organization to use the IP address without worrying about conflicting with the public IP address. Yes, the private IP address which you are using, that is the locally, it means you can use any IP address, there is no problem. But yes, not any. Any means, please keep in mind what? Subnetting. Understand, na everyone? Yes or no? Yes. Now, what is the problem with the NAT? Sorry, problems without NAT. IP address execution. Without NAT, each device on the private IP address, and if they wants to communicate with the internet, you have to assign which address, guys? Public. Right now, everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So if it means if every user, if you are assigning the public IP address, it means definitely there will be a time when your public IP address will exhaust. Yes or no? Yes. Fine, everyone. Second one is direct exposure. Direct exposure means, for example, if your PC is using the 200.0.0.1, that is the public IP address, it means if you are searching anything over the public internet, your personal IP address, and we can say the IP address which is configured on your laptop will expose over the public internet. Yes or no? Yes. Tell me, right now?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Managing a large number of public address for every devices on the network would be very difficult task, right? Cost will be high. Address conflict, there will be a chance for the address conflict because you are using the public IP address for the which network? WAN network, right? Na? That is the public internet, and public internet is open for all, na? Yes or no? It means every people is going to use which IP address? Public IP address. There will be a chance for conflict, right? Na? So to avoid these things, we have a concept of NAT. Now there are types of NAT. I told you there are three types of NAT. First one is called static NAT. Maps a single private IP address to single public IP, right? Na? So that's the reason it is known as IP to IP map. It means single private to single public. Done, everyone. used when a specific internal device needs to accessible from the external network with the fixed public IP address. For example, this is the LAN. This is the LAN network. And in your LAN network, let's suppose there are 100 users are there. For example, among all the 100 users, your company requirement is only 3 people are allowed to access the internet in my company. For example, director, CEO, or someone else. Getting my point? So number of users is how much here? Only 3, na? Are you tell me? How
Yes.
many users are there?
Yes.
Only 3. Or for example, in your LAN, you want there are only 3 computers by which anyone can access internet. It means you have to allow only 3 PC for the internet communication. Right? Na everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So in this case, what you will do? You will configure the static NAT. There is no problem. Tell me yes or no. Yes, na?
Yes.
Everyone.
Yes.
Yes. Next one is called dynamic NAT. Map a private IP address to public IP address from pool. I told you, na, in dynamic NAT, what we will do? We will configure the pool. And in pool, there will be some public IP address. And whenever your router will receive any packet from the LAN network, what it will do? It will choose the available IP address from the pool and convert that private IP address to public IP address. Getting my point, everyone? That is called dynamic. Understand, na? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Used when internal device needs temporary access for the external network within the available. Yes. Now next one is the PAT. Maps multiple private IP address to the single. I told you, na, in case of PAT, how many public IP address you need? Single, right? Using the different port number. Understand? Used to allow a multiple internal device to share a single public IP address while distinguishing them with the different port number. It means by the help of port number, you will make that address is unique. Understand, guys? Yes, na? So there are 3 types of NAT: static, dynamic, and PAT. Understand? Clear? Everyone.
Yes.
Now, static NAT, I told you already, a static NAT means one-to-one mapping. Now, IP address in one single specific IP address. Fine. Fixed mapping, consistent access, no port translation. Static NAT does not involve any port translation. Port translation will happen in where? In PAT. Right now, everyone? Yes or no? Alright, tell me. Right? Here, I written one example. A web server or mail server inside a network might require a static NAT configuring so that the external client can always reach it at the same public IP address. Yes, generally we are doing these things. For example, in your company, there is any server. And for example, there is any client of your company and that client needs access of this server. What you will do? You will configure a static NAT or you will provide the static or one allocated public IP address for this server, right now. So these clients can easily access to the server with a single IP address. For example, if you do not do these things, if you use the dynamic NAT, what will happen? For example, after 30 minutes, 45 minutes, your IP address will change. Yes or no? Yes, IP address will
Yes.
change. It means every time this client will ask, please tell me the IP address. Yes, na, that is the frustrating thing, right? So that's the reason what you will do. You will configure the static NAT and provide the fixed public IP address. So they can easily access to the server and check anything. Then everyone, that is called static NAT. Understand, everyone? Yes or no? Clear?
Yes.
Okay. How to configure the static NAT? Go into the global configuration mode, IP NAT, fine. Then you have to write the word. Either you need to write the inside or either you need to write outside. For the LAN network, you need to write inside. Getting my point? And for the WAN network, you need to write outside. Fine. Inside, source static. This one, it means you are telling if your device will get this address as the source, what it will do? Convert it into this. This will be the public. Yes, na everyone? Yes or no? Understand? Are tell me. 192.168.1.10. This is the private IP address or internal device, right? And this is the public IP address. So by this way, you can configure the static NAT. Done. Now the next one is the dynamic NAT. In dynamic NAT, what you will do? You will configure the pool of public IP address. Pool of public IP address. Yes or no? Are tell me. Pool of public IP address. Unlike the static NAT, the public IP address are not fixed. But in case of a static NAT, public IP address was fixed, right? Na? But in dynamic NAT, it will not happen. What you will do? You will create the pool. In this pool, there are multiple public IP address. Whenever any request will come here, what router will do? Router choose the available public IP address from this pool and allocate any one public IP address to the private IP address. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no? When the reply will come, this router will send the packet, then this IP will free. Yes or no? Yes, that is the process. That is called which NAT, guys? Dynamic NAT. Are you tell me yes or no? Yes, na? So in static NAT, you allocate the IP address fixed. Yes or no? Because there is a one-to-one mapping. But in case of dynamic NAT, whatever the IP address, whatever the public IP address, your private IP address will get, that is not fixed. Maybe when the communication will happen, that public IP address will free. Yes or no? Yes. That is temporary mapping. That is temporary mapping. Dynamic NAT allows internal device to use the public address. But how? Temporarily. When they need to access the external network. The translation is dynamic, meaning that the different internal device can use the different public IP address from the pool as needed. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no? Yes, na? Now, pool of address. In dynamic NAT, what you will do? You will configure the pool of address. In public IP address are predefined in a pool, right? You already predefined. When an internal device initiate a connection to the outside network, a public IP address from that pool is assigned to the device. Getting my point? That is the process. No fixed mapping, I already told you. Yes or no? Everyone, tell me. Temporary internet access. Dynamic NAT is often used in the environment where many internal device needs to access the internet, but not all at the same time. Getting my point? So if in any company, if this type of scenario is, then generally we are using the dynamic NAT. For example, in a corporate network where employees occasionally need to internet access, right? For example, there is a project. In this project, the main work is internal communication, right? If main work is internal communication, then there is no need of internet, right? Now, everyone, yes or no? So in this case, you can use the dynamic NAT if you are trying to access the internet oftenly. Are you tell me yes, na? Tell me. Yes. Now, how to configure the dynamic NAT? First of all, you need to create what, guys? Pool. What is the command? IP NAT, then pool, and understand. Then you have to write the name, fine, and I write what? 203.1, this one, to this one. It means from dot 10 to 20. This is the IP address. Now, total how many IP addresses there? 10 IP. Yes, na everyone. And then net mask and then configure the subnet mask here. Fine. So basically, this is the way by which you can create the pool. Understand? So now what it will do? After that, you need to configure the define an access list to specify which internal address are to be translated. It means you already created the pool. After that, on a router, you need to define you want to assign the public IP address from this pool, but which address? Which address? For example, if you in your company, for example, in the LAN network, you are using 192.168.1.0 network. 1.0 network. So you have to tell to this router, you have to always perform the dynamic NAT when you will get the packet from this subnet. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So how? you need to create the access list. So access list, create one, then permit, and then 192.168.1.0, and then some wildcard mask. Clear na everyone? Yes or no? Yes. So you need to create the access list, and by the help of access list, you need to tell the router you have to prefer this network. You have to prefer this network. Understand, everyone? Are you tell me?
Yeah.
So after this, you need to configure what? IP NAT inside, right? I told you na. I told you na, in inside or outside, right na? Inside source list. What is one na? Source list one means, you already configured the access list one here, right na? So that will be
Yes.
the source list, and pool NAT. Oh, this is the NAT. It means if
That
you,
one.
by the help of this command, what you are telling, you are just configuring the NAT now, or you can say you are implementing the NAT now. Fine. So by the help of this command, you are telling to this router what you have to do. You have to always prefer the source which is mentioned in list number one. List number one means access list. Are you tell me yes or no? Yes, na?
Yes.
In access list, you mention what? 192.168.1.0 network. Fine. So it means now the router will prefer this network as a source. Fine. Now, after that, you are telling what it will follow. It will prefer as a destination pool. What is the pool? This pool, NAT pool. Understand, na? So basically, by this command, you are just implementing the dynamic NAT. Clear, everyone? Yes or no?
Sir,
Mhm.
I have doubt, sir. Access list is permitted 192.168.1.0, 0.0.0.255. That is the actually default gateway of the router, like actually the network only total.
That is the LAN network. For example, this is the LAN network. In your company, you will use any private IP address, right?
Yes,
In
sir.
your company, you will use the private, yes or no?
No,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
For example, if in your company you are using 192.168.1.0 network, so that is this.
Okay.
Understand? So basically, by the help of access list, you need to define, or you need to tell to this router, please prefer always this network as the source. For example, if router will get the packet with 10.0.0.1, this router will never convert this private IP address into public, because in access list, what you already defined, 192.168.1.0. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no?
Actually,
IP NAT,
different.
this command, define the pool of public IP address from this one to this one. It means you just configure the pool from IP address here to there, total 10 IP address. Access list one, specify the range of internal IP address that should be translated, right? So by the help of access list, you are just specifying the source address, right now. So whenever the router will receive the packet from this source, then router will perform the NATing. Otherwise, no. I told you. IP NAT, this command, configure the NAT to use the defined pool for translating the, yes, by the help of this command, you are just implementing the NAT. Clear na everyone? Yes or no? Tell me.
Yes.
Now the last one is, guys, PAT. PAT is also known as NAT overload. Yes, in some book you guys will get overload, because whenever you configure the PAT na, in command you will get the overload. See, in last what you need to write?
Overload.
Fine, na? That the reason it is also known as NAT overload. Fine. Involves mapping multiple private IP address to the single. Right now, if you are using the PAT, you do not need to multiple public IP address. In case of a static NAT, you need multiple, and in case of dynamic NAT also you need multiple, right now. But in case of PAT, you need only how many public IP
Yeah.
address? Only one,
One
right?
public.
Right? And what it will do? It will just add the port number.
Port number.
Right? This allows many internal devices to share the one public IP address. Fine. And it will make unique by the help of port number. Fine. So port-based mapping, PAT not only translate private address to the single address, but also track the connection using the port number. Each connection from the internal device is assigned a unique source port number, right? And this way, multiple devices can use the same public IP address without any conflict. It means if you configure the PAT, whenever any packet will reach, what it will do? It will convert into that public IP address, and always it assign one port number, source port number. Right now, everyone? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Overloading. This technique is called the overloading because multiple internal devices are overloading the single public IP address with a different port number. Yes, that's the reason it is called overload, because for every traffic you are using the same public IP address. Are you tell me yes or no? Yes, na. That's the reason it is known as overloading. Dynamic and scalable. PAT is dynamic and scalable, making it suitable for the scenario where many devices needs to access the internet, but only a limited number of public IP addresses are available. For example, if in your company there are very limited number of public IP address and everyone wants to access the internet, so in this case you have a solution, PAT. In this case,
So,
you have
sir, our Soho router works with that
sorry.
router or the routers we use in home. It works.
I'm not getting. For example, yes, you are telling, yes, I got it. Like, let's suppose you are telling in your home you are using the router. Yes, definitely that they are using the PAT. Okay. Real time case. Home network. In home network, multiple devices in your, for example, laptop, computer, tablet. Right now, every devices are connected with your Wi-Fi. Yes or no? Yes. So in this case, your ISP already configured the which one? PAT on your router. Getting my point, everyone? So that's the reason you are able to access the internet with the same public IP address. Fine, na? For example, I purchased the Zio router in my home, and the cost is, let's suppose, 5K. So, and let's suppose monthly I am paying 1,000 monthly. So if you are paying 1,000 monthly, it doesn't mean you are paying the rent or anything else. No, you are not paying for the MB or like this. No, the main amount you are paying for the public IP address. Getting my point?
No.
That is the, yes, basically you are paying the rent. For example, if you are using the router or if you are accessing the internet, so definitely your ISP already provide you one public IP address. Yes or no? Yes. Your ISP already provide you one public IP address. It means your all the private address is now converting into that public IP address with the help of PAT. Yes or no? So it means on monthly basis, if you are paying 1,000 rupees to the ISP, it means you are paying maximum amount for as a rent of your public IP. Getting my point, everyone? Yes or no? Clear na? Are tell me.
Sir,
Now,
I have a question on net dynamic net.
sorry, on dynamic network.
Uh, 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 you told that if they are assigning 10 public IP address in an internal network, and there are something 20 PCs, and 10 PCs are assigned with 10 public IP addresses, and the 11th PC then trying to reach the internet, then what happened?
For example, you are telling, just a minute. You are telling, for example, this is LAN, this is a router, this is WAN. Okay. In your LAN, you are telling about the dynamic net, right? Okay. In dynamic net, for example, there is a pool of 10 public. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then in your LAN, you are telling 10 users already accessing the internet. It means all the 10 IP is already engaged, right? Yes or no? Right, na? You are
Yes.
telling if 11th are trying to access at the same time, right? You are telling this one. Your voice is not coming. Is this your question?
Yes, sir.
So in this case, see na, first of all, this will not happen because you are thinking, but if communication will, let's suppose if all the 10 packets is there and all the 10 users are communicating, fine na? So communication will happen within a milli to millisecond, right? And IP address will free, fine. And your next device will get the fresh IP address, fine, one way. For example, in any case, all the 10 IP address are already engaged. So in this case, if this 11th user are sending, packet will reach on the router and hold. And and there is a time for ping. I don't know the exact time. Maybe some second. If this device will not get the IP, it will get the reply unreachable. Understand? Clear? Tell me.
Yes, sir. Please.
Now, how to configure the PAT? See guys, everything is same. IP, NAT, inside, source, list, one. Fine. Everything is same na? Everything is same na, like NAT. Yes or no? Interface. Here you need to mention the interface. Okay. And then you have to write the one keyword that is called overload. That's all. Configure PAT by using the IP address of gig. This one as public IP address on this interface. What you configured, guys? Public IP address, and this is WAN facing. This is WAN facing. The overload keyword allows multiple internal address to share the single IP address. Then that is the command by which you can configure what, guys? PAT. That is the command by which what you can do? You can configure the PAT. Then how can you check? Please remember this command. So IP NAT translation. Okay, by the help of this one, what you can do, it will show you which IP convert into which one. I told you na NAT table, yes or no? Right na? So by the help of this command, you will see the NAT table. In NAT table, you guys will get which private IP address converted into which public. Understand? For example, if you configure the PAT, then you will get the port number also. Yes, please. What?
What is one mean there before overload?
One again same na access list. In PAT also you need to configure the same thing.
No, before
The same you
overload.
before this
Overload.
one.
Yes.
This one.
Yes.
This is also access list. This is also access list. It means you are telling to this interface, please prefer that access list.
Okay. What to public?
What if you need to configure the again different statement, and in different statement you have to configure the different source basically. And yes, and generally in a company we are not configuring only single, we are configuring 3 to 4 statements are there. Fine. So in 3 or 4 statements, for example, in your company there are tower 7, tower 6, tower 5. Fine. So what you will do, for this tower you will assign different, for this one different, for this one different, to reduce the load. That's all. Otherwise,
Single source cannot
your
use multiple
otherwise your
IPs.
traffic will delay. Sorry?
So single source list cannot use two.
No, in single no. You need to create the different statement. Otherwise, if you are using the single one, then you will face some delay in the traffic. Fine. And at client end, and even if you are using the single one, even this will not approve also, because in your company, if there are a client, then client will not accept these type of thing. Fine.
I mean, we have only one client, but we have two public IPs.
Yes, you can see by the help of subnetting, you can just create multiple subnetwork.
Okay.
Right. So for example, you are using the one subnetwork. You can perform the PAT for this one. You can perform the PAT for different. You can form the PAT. Different.
Okay.
Getting my point?
Yes.
Now, what is the difference between NAT or PAT? I hope you guys are able to answer now. NAT means map private to public, right? Na? Yes or no? And what PAT will do? Here you will use the multiple IP address and it will use the single IP address with the different port number, right? Now,
Yes.
required the unique public IP address for each private IP address. Yes, and here you will single IP address with multiple private IP address. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
Use with the static or dynamic, right? And here we are using what? Overload.
Overload.
Required multiple public IP address. Yes, same thing here. Limited by the number of available public IP address, and this is scalable. And in 95% case, you guys will see what? PAT, not NAT. Done, everyone. I hope you guys understand. Tell me.
Yes.
Yes.
I will share